Peace. Good morning. How you doing, family? Oh man, this is a very interesting week already. I'm just saying. Hey, today is what, Wednesday? Yeah, today is Wednesday. This week has been. It's almost already. It's almost the weekend. So good morning to you. I pray wherever you are having a blessed day. I pray those who see this video have a blessed and prosperous day and allow your productivity to be prosperous. That's one thing that I always want to do. That's one thing I want to instill in you. Allow your productivity to be prosperous, because when you allow your productivity to be prosperous, that means that there is an impact in what you do. And I think when we look at that from that physical perspective, or that physical manifestation, allow your productivity to be prosperous. That will bring about and create a newness in what we do and how we impact things and how we impact people's lives when we're looking at how we are producing things. We have to be producers and not those who are sitting and waiting for something to happen, but those who are taking on the responsibility of producing what happens and being productive in what we do. All right. So again, good morning. Y'all have a blessed morning, and just keep it going and keep it going, keep it going. All right. So today we're talking about imagination. And for me, I'm not gonna lie, transparent moment. I mean, I have a lot of those. Transparent moment. Like for me, like yesterday, I got to the point to where those who write know what I mean when I say writer's block. Um, writer's block is real again. And when I got into that moment of acknowledging that there is something that is there that is blocking my creativity, I had to look at it. I had to change my perspective in how I saw it. I had to change my perspective in what I do and what I was doing to think about it. And there was an event that we had yesterday. For me, it was good. The event was good, but it definitely could have been better. But I had to look at it from a different light. And when you look at things from a different light, you are utilizing your imagination. And I want you to think about that. So my question to you, and I want to see you put that inside the chat, and I want for us as a people, not just us as individuals, but us as a people, to recognize and to realize and to understand that we have an imagination. That's why when people look at us like, man, y'all so creative, that's because a lot of times all we had was our imagination. Even though I am three of seven children, I will say that I probably was a child that had the biggest imagination out of all. I can say that for me because I know that a lot of times my imagination took me out of spaces and took me out of places where I was physically in. And I know there's a witness out there that can understand what I'm saying. My imagination took me out of that space. My imagination put me into spaces. Because if your imagination have ever removed you from somewhere, or if your imagination have ever put you into a place or put you into a space, I want to know that your imagination is just as powerful today as it was when you first began to process your thought. And imagination is so real, but your imagination has been waiting for you. Your imagination have been waiting for you for a long time. Just like you had an imagination to do certain things this year, and it's already November, and you have yet to do the things that you said that you was going to do way back in January. Your imagination is waiting on you. If your imagination has been waiting on you, put that inside the chat. Allow yourself to be transparent. I will always have a transparent moment. And if I am as transparent as I am when I get into these moments to where I'm telling my truth, as you know, whether it is good or is bad, then I want you to be as transparent as possible. I don't care if you're transparent once a day, whether it's in the morning with me or transparent with somebody else. We're going to be transparent with one another. But are you transparent enough to know that you your imagination has been waiting on you because you never started? Let's go ahead and get into it before I just talk my way out of it. I don't want that view. I want this view. All right. So again, the way we do things here, we go into the definition of words and etymology and where it came from. Imagination, as you see right now, imagination is power within. How do you see that? How do you see imagination as power within? This is the interaction between you and I. So therefore, with the interaction between you and I, you have to interact. And I want you to begin to use your thumbs and put things in a powerful perspective. And I want to learn from you just as well as you listen and learn from me. How do you see imagination is the power within? You were born with imagination, but what have you done with it? So let's go through the definition. It said the definition of imagination is the faculty or action of forming new ideas or images or concepts of external objects not present to the sense. Now let's break that down. If the first, before the first comma, it says the faculty or action of forming new ideas. That means there were ideas that was formed that probably did not work. So in order for you to create something new, you have to imagine it once again. That means you did not have the imagination of failure. You had the imagination of success, as well as you had the imagination of accomplishments. Have you groomed your imagination to be accomplished, or are you grooming your imagination to be a failure? No one wants to look at something or look at a thing and say, you know what, I imagine that failing. Why would you want to imagine that failing if you can imagine the life into it and give it something new and have it to allow it to form new ideas? And now going into the second one, concepts of external objects not present to the sense. Let's go back into the biblical term. If faith that goes into my next one. So I'll go ahead and put myself there. If faith is the absence of things hoped for, faith is the subject of things hoped for, and faith is the absence of things hoped for, then therefore you have to have faith to give yourself power to your imagination. Because if faith is the substance of things hoped for, then you have to give substance to your imagination. You have to take your imagination and write it down and put it on paper and give it substance. Because an imagination without substance is just an idea. I'm going to say that again. Your imagination without substance is just an idea, and you have to give power to the imagination in order for the idea to come to pass. Because again, remember, if faith is a substance of things hoped for, then you can take that imagination and see past the hope and give it life. Just like in the political term, when they say give truth to power, I want you to give truth to your imagination in order for you to give power to your imagination in order for it to make it come to pass. Because if it's the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen, you cannot take your imagination physically out of your head and allow someone to see it. No, that imagination has to be birthed through what you say, and that imagination will be birthed through what you do. But what have you done with your imagination? Have you birthed that imagination long enough, going through the gestational period in order for that imagination to be manifested into this physical form? Again, if faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen, then your imagination is not seen, but you have to give power to that imagination in order for it to come to pass. Have you given enough faith in your imagination to transition it into an idea, to transition it into paper, to give it its physical form? Transparent moment again. All right, so I'm gonna tell you a real story. So I get up early in the morning and I go running or I go walk about a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, whatever I feel like doing and then I come into the office, but I prep myself the day before to get myself ready for today. Normally, if I keep my laptop here in the office just so I can separate home from work. And last night I brought my laptop home because I wanted to create the graphics and create the idea and concept of what I want to speak about today. But normally when I do bring it home, I imagine myself, if I don't, once I'm finished with it, if I don't close the laptop, put it in the bag and put it in the car, before I lay down, I imagine placing the laptop bag inside the car to tell myself, to remind myself, hey, make sure you take and put this in the car. Make sure you go and don't leave it. I imagine myself. I talk to myself. I put myself in that space. If I'm not the only one that does that, don't make me feel like I'm by myself. I talk to myself and say, hey, make sure you put it in the car. I imagine my physical form putting it in the vehicle. But honestly, I didn't do it last night. I didn't do it. So what do you think happened? I left it. I left my bag. Now, I stay about 20 minutes, maybe 17, 20 minutes, whatever it is. So I drove all the way here. I got all the way to the media room, and it was about maybe about 6:28, 6:29. What did I do? I left my bag. So I had to drive all the way back to get my bag with my laptop and fly all the way here. And once I got back here, it was about maybe 6:50 just to prep and get ready. No, let me back that up. Yeah, maybe 6:50, 6:55. But because I know that I have a regiment mentally, I didn't mentally see or imagine me putting the bag inside of the vehicle, nor did I recognize that I have the ability to forget to put the bag in the vehicle. I could have said, okay, imagine you putting a bag in the vehicle and reminding yourself to put it in the morning. Then I probably could have said, like, nah, go ahead and put it in there now, because you're creating room for error. I could have placed the bag inside the vehicle last night, but I imagined myself putting it in the vehicle, and I should have done it last night, but I didn't. So now I had to go back. Remember, it's new concepts. I had to go back and get the bag and come back and set everything up for today, for this morning. But I had to go back, and then going back brought me here to this place, and I began to imagine new concepts, because a lot of times the things that I go through, I go to, and I open it up enough to be transparent, to speak to you, to let you know you're not the only one that makes mistakes. You're not the only one that does not take their imagination and give it power in order for it to change, either change within you or change within someone else, to allow them to allow you to foresee something into somebody else. That's my transparent moment, and I'm sticking with it. All right. So again, faith gives power to your imagination. I need you to have enough faith to give power to your imagination of starting that business. Have enough faith to give power to the imagination of going and shooting your shot at somebody that you know that you have wanted the ability to speak to. I'm just going to tell you right now, shoot your shot. But anyway, all right. So the next thing is creativity. Speak life to your creativity. It's no one else's responsibility to speak life to your creativity. It's no one else's responsibility to even recognize your imagination. Stop giving power to people who should not have power to even listen to the imagination or the idea that you have, because the idea was not given to them. The idea and the imagination was given to you. Give power to your own imagination and speak life to your imagination, because it's no one else's responsibility to believe your imagination. You must believe it first. You must believe it first, because after you believe it and you take action and you empower yourself to speak power to your creativity, to speak power to life, Your imagination is going to show and shine through. That's how you transition your imagination to your idea, to your creative nature in order for it to be manifested into this physical form. It's like a writer or a poet or a painter or a artist. Before they have the canvas, they have to imagine what they want. Now they're going to put themselves in a space to where, let me go out and get this easel, let me get the paint, or let me get the charcoal pens, pencils, and they buy everything that they need. So now when they're sitting in front of this canvas, they have to go inside of themselves. They have to go inside of that imagination in order for the imagination to spark the interest to go ahead and to draw out or to write out what they're visualizing. And that's the same thing that you can do with your imagination. Your imagination cannot be taken from you. I want you to understand that your imagination cannot be taken from you. I don't care what people say. I don't care what people have done. I don't care what they did to you yesterday. I don't care what they're saying about you right now. Your imagination is a gift that is something that cannot be taken away from you, nor can it be masked or covered up, because the imagination that you have is something that no one else has because it's yours. Now, you may have people that have similar or parallel imaginations with like you, but your imagination is yours. It is not anyone else's because it belongs to you, because it comes out of your head and it should be coming out of your mouth, or should be coming out of your extremities, meaning you're actually physically doing something. Just like you see this bulb right here, the bulb is stationary, but inside the mind, it is infinite. It will continue to turn. It will continue to cycle. It will continue to move. Just like as the continuation of it to move, it should continue to motivate you to do something bigger and better than you've ever done before. Be creative. Your imagination is infinite. It will never go away until you are physically no longer here on this earth. Again, allow your creativity to speak life to your creativity. Then after you speak life to it, and after you give the creative edge, it is time for you to own it. It is time for you to be affirmed with your imagination. You may say, today is my day. If today is your day, what are you going to do about it? Yesterday is in the past, because remember, if the imagination is the creation or the creating of something new, then you can't harp on what happened yesterday, because your imagination will pave the way forward. And if your imagination paves the way forward, then what are you doing when you get to the end of that sidewalk? Are you paving more way? Yes, it has the ability to pave more way, because before you ever got on the road, before you ever got in your car, there was a road that was already there for you. But it's what you do when you get on the road that's going to take you to the destination, because the journey was already there. The journey was already created, but get inside of your imagination and see yourself there before you get inside that vehicle, whether you're going from a mental vehicle, a physical vehicle, a spiritual vehicle, whatever it is. The journey is only as sweet as the destination, but it's the imagination that's going to get you there first. And I need you to own it. Stand firm on your imagination and tell yourself that you got it. Don't worry about whoever is not giving you the support that you feel that you thought you need. The support should be coming from you, because it was your thought. It was your interest that was sparked. It was your imagination that was created, because those who have created the imagination should and will have the ability to create again. Why? Because again, remember, your imagination is infinite. It's like having infinite wisdom. You will always have something to say, because if wisdom is wise words, ways, and actions, you will always have something to say. You will always have something to do. That will forever be infinite. So your imagination is as your wisdom. It is forever infinite. Always infinite. And you need to own it and stop waiting and giving someone else power to your imagination that you shouldn't have never given them the power to do. And then after you get to the after you take that imagination on it, after you own the imagination, your imagination is now what is waiting for you to start. Here it is, November. That same New Year's resolution that you said that you was going to have that you have yet to complete. For those that look at it from a quarter perspective, this is the fourth quarter. What have you done in this quarter? That what did you not do in this quarter that you said that you was going to complete in the third quarter? What have you said that you was going to do at the beginning of the year that you have yet to complete right now? Right now, your imagination is standing there or sitting there or laying there waiting for you to start. Your imagination is not going to take shape until you begin to shape it. Have you ever been in, whether it was home ec or art class or something like that? I don't know what your school system used to do. Like, whether you did paper mache. Paper mache is what? You have the little glue or whatever it is, and you have like newspaper. But until you take the paper and put it inside of the solution and begin to give shape to it, it will never take the shape of a bowl, or it will never take the shape of a face or a head until you start to shape it, until you take your imagination and put truth to power on paper and give it its shape. It will not manifest to a physical being. And it was waiting on you to start by understanding of what you want to do. And I want you to say this today. Today is you say I'll say it to you as your. Today is your first day of freedom and prosperity. That's for you. Today is your first day of freedom and prosperity, because remember, your imagination is waiting on you to start. That's an honest thing. But are you ready to start? If you're not ready to start, sit your tail down somewhere until you begin to know and to learn and to understand that my imagination is so real that my imagination is nothing to play with. How many of you out there have a very strong imagination? How many of you have a very powerful imagination? Your imagination is not limited to someone else's point of view. Your imagination is not limited to someone else's reality. Your imagination is not limited to someone else's thoughts, because again, your imagination has to be owned. Your imagination has to be creative, and your imagination have been waiting on you to start. And I'm gonna leave you with this, and I want you to remember it forever and forever and forevermore. Everything that is real right now was imagined first. The cell phone was imagined first. The car was imagined first. The plane was imagined first. The laptop was imagined first. The camera was imagined first. The lights was imagined first. The clothes that you're wearing was imagined first. Every time you sit inside that vehicle and that chair and those buttons that you push was imagined first. So what are you doing with your imagination? Until you take shape and give form and own your imagination, nothing that you say that you want to do will come to pass, because you have yet owned up to your imagination. And I guarantee you, after you own up to it and give shape and give power to your imagination, things will happen for you. Own your imagination and give power to it, because everything that you see right now started out as someone else's imagination, but they owned it and they gave power to it. It's yours. It's yours.